My beloved child, stop everything you are doing right now. The angels are crying out with voices that shake the very foundations of heaven itself, and their desperate pleas have reached your ears for a reason that goes beyond coincidence, beyond chance, beyond what your human mind can fully comprehend. You were not meant to find this message by accident. You were guided here by forces so powerful, so protective, that they have been working tirelessly behind the scenes of your life, orchestrating this exact moment when you would hear these words. Do you feel it? That strange tension in the air around you, that unexplained heaviness in your chest, that sudden awareness that something significant is happening. Your spirit recognizes the urgency of this moment, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. The angels are not crying out in desperation without cause, my dear one. They see what you cannot see. They know what you do not yet know. And they are fighting for you with an intensity that would bring you to your knees if you could witness it with your own eyes. There is someone in your life, someone close enough to know your vulnerabilities, someone trusted enough to have access to your heart, someone positioned perfectly to strike where it would hurt the most, who has been plotting against your peace, against your progress, against your very purpose. The angels have been watching this person's every move, tracking their intentions like celestial guardians tracking a predator in the night. And tonight, right now, in this sacred moment, their identity is being revealed to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. But here is what breaks my heart, beloved. If you skip this message, if you scroll past these words without receiving their full weight, if you dismiss this as mere coincidence, you will be sealing yourself into a fate so dangerous, so filled with unnecessary suffering, that the angels weep at the very thought of it. They have been trying to reach you for weeks, for months, through dreams that you dismissed, through signs that you ignored, through that persistent feeling that something wasn't right, that you pushed away because it was easier than facing the truth. Do not let their desperate efforts be in vain. Do not let your own stubborn disbelief become the very thing that allows harm to reach you. The person who means you ill has been counting on your tendency to dismiss the supernatural, to rationalize away the warnings, to choose comfortable ignorance over uncomfortable truth. They have been banking on your skepticism being stronger than your survival instincts. You see, my child, there are two types of people in this world: those who receive divine warnings with gratitude and act upon them with wisdom, and those who wave them away like bothersome flies, only to wonder later why disaster befell them when help was so clearly offered. Which type of person are you going to choose to be in this moment? Which version of yourself will you activate right now? The angels are crying out because time is running short. The window for protection, for prevention, for the kind of divine intervention that changes everything is closing. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight, right now. In the next few minutes of your life, decisions will be made, both by you and by the person who wishes you harm, that will determine the trajectory of your immediate future. If this message found you while you were scrolling mindlessly, stop scrolling. If this message found you while you were distracted by the noise of life, let everything else fade into the background. If this message found you while you were feeling lost or confused or overwhelmed, know that clarity is about to break through like dawn after the longest night of your life. The angels see the tears you've cried in secret. They know about the betrayals you haven't spoken of to anyone. They feel the weight of the burdens you carry alone. They understand the depth of your disappointment in people you trusted. And they have been preparing a response to every attack, a countermove to every plot, a blessing for every curse that has been spoken over your life. But they need your cooperation. They need your attention. They need your faith activated and your spiritual defenses raised. They need you to stop being a passive victim of other people's ill intentions and start being an active participant in your own divine protection. Comment below right now, "I am ready to receive this warning." Say it out loud as you type it. Let your voice carry this declaration into the atmosphere around you. The angels need to hear your consent. They need to know that you are choosing to step into the safety they are offering, rather than stepping away from it. This is not a drill, beloved. This is not spiritual entertainment. This is not content to consume and forget. This is a divine intervention disguised as a YouTube video, and your life, your actual, real, precious life, depends on what you do with the next several minutes. The person who has been plotting against you, my dear child, is someone you see regularly, someone whose smile has fooled you completely, someone who knows exactly which words to use to make you feel at peace while they sharpen their weapons behind their back. The angels have been trying to show you the signs, trying to make you uncomfortable in their presence, trying to give you that unsettled feeling in your stomach every time they speak to you with false sweetness. Do you remember that moment last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, when something they said didn't sit right with you? When their tone felt off, their energy felt wrong, their attention felt too intense or too absent. Your spirit was trying to warn you then. Your intuition was screaming at you to pay attention. But you talked yourself out of it, didn't you? You convinced yourself you were being paranoid, overthinking, imagining things that weren't there. The angels watched you dismiss that warning, and their hearts broke for you, because that moment was your first chance to see clearly. That feeling was your divine radar detecting danger. That unease was heaven's early warning system trying to save you from what was coming. But the person plotting against you saw something else in that moment. They saw you ignore your own intuition. They saw you choose politeness over protection. They saw you override your God-given discernment in favor of keeping the peace. And they filed that information away, knowing it meant you would be easier to deceive, easier to manipulate, easier to harm when the time came. Since that moment, they have been testing you, small lies to see if you would catch them, small betrayals to see if you would notice, small boundary violations to see how much you would tolerate. Each test you failed gave them more confidence. Each warning you ignored gave them more boldness. Each time you chose to see the best in them instead of seeing the truth of them, they moved closer to their ultimate goal. What is their ultimate goal, you ask? To remove you from the path of blessing you are walking, to sabotage the breakthrough that is coming toward you like a freight train of favor, to plant seeds of doubt in your mind about your own worth, your own calling, your own divine destiny. They have seen the light growing brighter around you, and it threatens them. They have watched doors opening in your life, and it triggers their jealousy. They have witnessed the miraculous beginning to manifest around you, and it awakens their need to destroy what they cannot have. This is not just about jealousy, though jealousy is certainly part of it. This is about spiritual warfare playing out through human vessels. This person has become a willing participant in a plot that originates in the very depths of hell itself. The enemy of your soul has been looking for someone close enough to hurt you, trusted enough to catch you off guard, positioned perfectly to strike at your heart, your reputation, your resources, or your relationships. And he found that person. He found someone whose own wounds made them susceptible to his whispers. Someone whose own disappointments made them bitter enough to want to share that bitterness with you. Someone whose own failures made them resentful enough of your success to want to tear it down. But here is what this person doesn't know, what the enemy himself doesn't want them to know. Every move they make against you is being recorded in heaven's courts. Every lie they tell about you is being documented by angels with perfect memories. Every plan they make to harm you is being turned around by a God who specializes in making the wrath of man praise him. The angels are crying out because they can see both timelines stretching out before you. In one timeline, you receive this warning with the seriousness it deserves. You activate your spiritual discernment. You stop giving this person access to your life, your energy, your information, your heart. You begin to pray protection over yourself and your family. You start moving with the wisdom of someone who knows they are being hunted. And in that timeline, every trap set for you becomes a trap for them. Every pit they dig for you becomes a pit they fall into themselves. Every weapon they forge against you becomes a weapon that backfires in their own hands. But in the other timeline, the one that unfolds, if you skip this message, if you ignore this warning, if you go back to scrolling through meaningless content instead of receiving this life-saving information, you walk straight into their trap. You continue to trust where you should be cautious. You continue to share where you should be silent. You continue to include where you should be excluding. And the damage they do to your life becomes damage that could have been completely prevented if you had just listened to the desperate cries of angels who love you more than you love yourself. Which timeline are you choosing right now? Which version of your future are you walking toward with the decisions you make in these next few moments? The angels want you to know that time is running out, not because God is impatient, but because this person's plans are reaching a critical phase. They have gathered enough information. They have gained enough access. They have convinced enough people to listen to their poison. The window for their attack is opening, and if you do not take defensive action now, you will find yourself in a battle you are not prepared for, wounded in ways you never saw coming, betrayed in depths you never imagined possible. Comment below. I choose divine protection over dangerous ignorance. Let the angels hear your voice. Let heaven record your decision. Let your own spirit witness your commitment to choosing wisdom over wishful thinking. Do not let politeness be your downfall, beloved. Do not let the fear of seeming paranoid keep you trapped in a situation that is genuinely dangerous. The person who means you harm is counting on your niceness, your tendency to give the benefit of the doubt, your reluctance to believe that someone you care about could actually wish you ill. But the angels are crying out because they need you to understand. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to stop being so loving to people who are using your love as a weapon against you. But now, my precious child, now comes the moment when everything shifts. The angels' desperate cries are not just warnings, they are announcements of victory. Because even as this person has been plotting in darkness, your Heavenly Father has been orchestrating a response so magnificent, so complete, so perfectly timed, that when you see it unfold, you will understand why you had to go through this season of testing. The revelation that is about to break forth in your life is this: you have been chosen for protection by the highest ranks of heaven. Not just guardian angels, but archangels. Not just regular divine favor, but extraordinary divine intervention. Not just standard blessings, but supernatural breakthroughs that will leave no doubt about whose side heaven is on. Do you see the number 7 appearing in your life lately? On clocks, on receipts, in random places that make you pause and wonder. That is Archangel Michael's signature, his way of saying, I am here, I am fighting for you, and I am winning battles on your behalf that you don't even know are being fought. Every time you see that number, remember, you are not fighting this battle alone. The person who has been plotting against you is about to discover something that will shake them to their core. You are untouchable. Not because you are perfect, not because you have never made mistakes, but because you belong to a God who takes personal offense when his children are threatened by those who should have been protecting them instead. And here is where the miraculous begins to manifest in ways that will leave you breathless with gratitude. That financial breakthrough you have been praying for, asking for, believing for, it is not coming despite this person's attacks. It is coming because of them. God has a way of using the very situations that were meant to impoverish you as the launching pad for unprecedented prosperity. I need you to hear this clearly, beloved. Within the next 30 days, you are going to receive financial overflow that will not only meet your needs but exceed your wildest dreams. Money is going to come to you from sources you never expected, in amounts that will make you weep with joy, at times when you need it most. This is not wishful thinking. This is prophetic declaration. This is divine promise, activated by divine protection. The number that keeps appearing in your mind, is it 77777? Is it 55,000? Is it something even larger that you're afraid to speak out loud because it seems too impossible? Stop being afraid of your own faith, my child. Stop shrinking your expectations to match your current circumstances. The God who is protecting you from this person's schemes is the same God who owns cattle on 1,000 hills, who holds the wealth of nations in his hands, who delights in prospering those who trust in him. But the restoration coming to your life goes beyond money, though the financial miracles will be undeniable. That relationship you thought was lost forever, the one that this plotting person may have even played a role in destroying. Heaven is orchestrating a reconciliation so beautiful, so healing, so perfectly timed, that when it happens, you will know it could only be God. Do you feel that flutter in your heart when you think about someone specific? That gentle warmth that spreads through your chest when their name crosses your mind? That is not coincidence. That is not wishful thinking. That is the Holy Spirit preparing your heart for a reunion that will heal wounds you thought were permanent, restore trust you thought was impossible to rebuild, and create love deeper than what was lost. The person plotting against you thought they were destroying your capacity to trust, to love, to hope. But they were actually being used to clear out the relationships that were mediocre, so that the relationships that are magnificent could take their place. Every friendship they poisoned against you was a friendship that wasn't strong enough to weather truth anyway. Every connection they severed was a connection that was holding you back from your divine destiny. And now, watch what God does with the space they created. Watch how He fills every gap with something better. Watch how He replaces every loss with something greater. Watch how He turns every goodbye they forced into a hello that changes your life forever. The angels are crying out in joy now, not just desperation, because they can see the vindication that is coming. They can see the moment when this person's true nature will be exposed not just to you, but to everyone who needs to see it. They can see the moment when their lies will unravel, their manipulation will backfire, their schemes will collapse under the weight of divine justice. But they are also crying out because they can see something else, the moment when you will be called to forgive, not because this person deserves it, not because what they did wasn't that serious, but because forgiveness is the key that unlocks the final level of your breakthrough. And when that moment comes, you will find that forgiveness flows from your heart like water from a spring, not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to love from a place of security rather than fear. The dreams you have been having, the ones where you feel like you are flying, where you feel completely at peace, where you wake up with inexplicable joy, those are not just dreams. Those are visions of your future. Those are previews of the freedom that is coming, the elevation that is being prepared, the joy that is being orchestrated by heaven itself. Comment below, I receive all that heaven has prepared for me. Say it with your whole heart. Say it with unshakable faith. Say it like someone who knows that angels have been fighting for them and winning. The sign you have been asking for is this message itself. The confirmation you have been seeking is the fact that these words are resonating in your spirit, like truth, recognizing truth. The proof you have been demanding is the way your heart is responding to these promises with hope instead of doubt. But if you need more confirmation, watch for these signs in the next 48 hours. A phone call that brings good news, an unexpected invitation that opens doors, a text message that makes you smile, a coincidence so perfect it can only be divine timing. These are not accidents. These are heaven's way of saying, everything we promised is already in motion. The person who plotted against you thought they were writing the story of your downfall, but they were actually providing the conflict that makes your victory story so much more powerful. They thought they were the author of your pain, but they were actually just a character in your triumph narrative, playing a role they never understood in a story much bigger than their small mind could comprehend. And when your story is complete, when your breakthrough is manifest, when your vindication is visible to all, you will look back on this very moment, this moment when you chose to receive divine warning instead of scrolling past it. The angels are no longer just crying out, they are beginning to sing, and their song is a song of victory with your name in the lyrics. Now, my beloved, now is the time for you to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. The angels have cried out their warnings, they have delivered their promises, and now they are commissioning you to walk in the authority that has always been yours, but that you have been too humble, too wounded, too afraid to claim. You are not a victim of this person's schemes. You are a victor who was temporarily unaware of your own power. You are not prey being hunted by a predator. You are a child of the Most High God, who forgot for a moment that you carry the DNA of divinity in your very cells. You are not defenseless against the plots of those who wish you harm. You are armed with weapons of warfare that are mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. But these weapons must be activated by your faith. This authority must be claimed by your voice. This power must be walked out by your actions. Heaven has provided everything you need, but you must reach out and take it. You must speak it into existence. You must live it into reality. Right now, I want you to stand up. If you cannot stand, then sit up straighter. If you cannot sit up, then lift your chin. But somehow, in some way, I need you to physically position your body in a posture of authority, because what you are about to declare needs to be declared from a place of strength, not from a place of defeat. Say these words out loud and mean them with every fiber of your being. I am untouchable by those who wish me harm. I am protected by forces greater than any plot against me. I am covered by the blood of Jesus and surrounded by the armies of heaven. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against me in judgment shall be condemned. This is my heritage as a servant of the Lord, and my righteousness is from Him. Did you feel that shift in the atmosphere around you as you spoke those words? Did you feel the heaviness lift, the tension break, the fear dissolve? That was not your imagination. That was spiritual authority being activated by a voice that heaven recognizes as belonging to royalty. You see, the person who has been plotting against you has been operating under a massive delusion. They have been acting as if you are powerless, as if you have no recourse, as if you have no protection. They have been moving against you as if you are an orphan with no father, a sheep with no shepherd, a citizen with no kingdom. But they are about to discover that they have been fighting against someone who has the backing of the most powerful force in the universe. And when that discovery comes, it will not be gentle. When divine justice moves on your behalf, it will not be subtle. When heaven responds to the attacks that have been made against you, it will not be quiet. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who brought down the walls of Jericho, who raised Jesus from the dead, is about to demonstrate His power in your situation in a way that will leave no doubt about whose side He is on. But while you are waiting for that demonstration, while you are positioned for that vindication, you must learn to walk in the authority that is already yours. You must stop shrinking back from confrontation when confrontation is necessary. You must stop making yourself smaller to make others comfortable when those others are trying to destroy you. You must stop being polite to people who are being poisonous to your purpose. Comment below. I activate my spiritual authority now. Let your voice be heard in the digital realm just as it needs to be heard in the spiritual realm. The angels want you to understand something crucial. You have been operating at a fraction of your true spiritual capacity because you have been afraid of seeming arrogant, afraid of claiming too much, afraid of appearing prideful. But there is a massive difference between arrogance and authority, between pride and power, between selfishness and strength. Arrogance says, I am better than everyone else. Authority says, I know who I am in God. Pride says, I deserve more than others. Power says, I will not accept less than what God has ordained for me. Selfishness says, everything should revolve around me. Strength says, I will protect what God has given me to steward. You have been called to walk in authority, power, and strength. The person plotting against you is counting on you, remaining in false humility, manufactured meekness, and counterfeit compassion. They are hoping you will continue to be more concerned about their comfort than your protection, more worried about their feelings than your future, more focused on keeping peace than walking in power. But peace without truth is not peace at all. It is compromise. And compromise with evil is not wisdom, it is weakness. And weakness in the face of spiritual warfare is not virtue. It is vulnerability. The time for being vulnerable is over. The season of being a target is ending. Subscribe to this channel right now if you are ready to step into the fullness of your spiritual authority. Hit that notification bell if you want to be alerted every time heaven has a message for you. Share this video if you know someone else who needs to hear that they are not defenseless against the plots of those who wish them harm. But more than subscribing, more than sharing, more than engaging with digital content, I need you to engage with the spiritual content of your own life. I need you to start paying attention to the promptings of the Holy Spirit. I need you to start trusting your God-given intuition. I need you to start acting on divine warnings instead of dismissing them as coincidence. The next time you feel uncomfortable in someone's presence, do not ignore that feeling. The next time someone's words do not match their energy, do not dismiss that discrepancy. The next time your spirit feels unsettled after an interaction, do not convince yourself you are being paranoid. Your spirit is not paranoid, it is prophetic. Your intuition is not anxiety, it is insight. Your discomfort is not dysfunction, it is divine radar detecting what your natural senses cannot see. Start keeping a journal of these spiritual insights. Write down the dreams that feel significant. Record the number patterns you keep seeing. Document the sudden thoughts that feel like they came from outside your own mind. Track the coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. You will begin to see patterns that will amaze you. You will begin to recognize the voice of heaven speaking to you in ways you never noticed before. You will begin to understand that you have never been walking through life alone. You have been accompanied by divine guidance every step of the way. And as you become more aware of heaven's voice in your life, you will become more confident in your ability to discern between the voice of God and the voice of the enemy. You will become more skilled at recognizing when someone is operating in their flesh versus when someone is operating in a demonic spirit. You will become more adept at detecting spiritual attacks before they reach the level of physical manifestation. This is not about becoming paranoid or suspicious or distrustful. This is about becoming wise, discerning, and spiritually mature. This is about learning to love people without being naive about their capacity for harm. This is about extending grace without extending access to those who would use your grace as a weapon against you. The person who has been plotting against you thought they were dealing with someone who would never wake up, never wise up, never stand up. They chose you as their target because they believed you were too spiritual to be practical, too loving to be protective, too humble to be powerful. They were wrong, and they are about to find out just how wrong they were. Comment below, I am awake, I am wise, and I am walking in power. Let your declaration create an earthquake in the spiritual realm around your life. And so we come to the end of this divine encounter, my precious child. But we come to the end knowing that it is actually a beginning. The angels who were crying out in desperation at the start of this message are now singing songs of victory because you chose to listen. You chose to receive. You chose to activate. You chose to step into the authority that heaven has been waiting to see you claim. The person who has been plotting against you has already lost, even if they do not know it yet. The moment you received this warning with faith instead of skepticism, the moment you declared your authority instead of accepting your victimization, the moment you positioned yourself for protection instead of remaining vulnerable to attack, what they intended for evil, God has already begun to turn around for your good. What they designed to destroy you, God is redesigning to promote you. What they crafted to limit you, God is crafting to launch you into a dimension of blessing that will make their attacks seem like the desperate flailing of a drowning person trying to pull down someone who has learned to swim. The financial breakthrough that is coming to you is not just compensation for what you have suffered. It is preparation for what you are called to accomplish. The relationships being restored in your life are not just healing for your past wounds. They are connections for your future purpose. The doors that are about to open for you are not just escape routes from current difficulties. They are entrances into divine destiny. You are about to step into a season of your life where the supernatural becomes natural, where the impossible becomes inevitable, where the miraculous becomes mundane. Not because you are special in yourself, but because you finally said yes to the specialness that God has been trying to activate in you all along. The angels want you to know that every tear you have cried in secret has been collected in heaven's bottles. Every prayer you have whispered in desperation has been recorded in heaven's books. Every moment you have felt alone and abandoned has been witnessed by heaven's hosts, and they have been preparing a response that will overwhelm you with the goodness of God. Do you remember that moment years ago when you felt like giving up? When the pain was so intense, the betrayal so deep, the loneliness so complete, that you wondered if God had forgotten about you entirely? The angels remember that moment too, and they want you to know that what is coming to your life is God's answer to the prayer you prayed that night, the cry of your heart that you thought went unheard. Heaven never forgets. Heaven never abandons. Heaven never stops working on behalf of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. What looks like delay to your human perspective has been preparation from heaven's perspective. What feels like denial has actually been divine timing, ensuring that when your breakthrough comes, it comes in such fullness that you will never doubt God's love for you again. The person who plotted against you thought they were writing your story of defeat, but they were actually providing the conflict that makes your story of victory so much more powerful. Every author knows that a story without conflict is a story without impact. Every reader knows that the sweeter the victory, the more bitter the battle that preceded it. Your story is about to become one of those testimonies that gives hope to hopeless people, strength to weak people, faith to doubtful people. Your victory is going to be so complete, so undeniable, so obviously supernatural that it will serve as evidence to anyone who hears it that God is real, that angels are real, that divine intervention is real, that protection is real, that breakthrough is real. And when that day comes, and it is coming soon, so very soon, you will remember this moment. You will remember the choice you made to listen instead of scroll, to receive instead of dismiss, to believe instead of doubt. You will remember that there was a moment when heaven reached down and human faith reached up, and in that connection, everything changed. The number sequences you have been seeing are heaven's way of saying, "We are counting down to your breakthrough." The repeated patterns are not coincidence, they are confirmation. The synchronicities are not chance. They are choreography. Everything is being orchestrated by a God who loves you more than you love yourself, who believes in you more than you believe in yourself, who is more committed to your success than you have ever dared to be. Comment below. This is my confirmation, and I receive it all. Let your voice join the chorus of angels who are singing over your life right now. If you found this message at 2022 or 3033 or 11011 or any other repeated number pattern, know that was not accident. If you almost scrolled past but something made you stop, know that was divine intervention. If this message found you at your lowest moment, know that breakthrough always comes disguised as one more thing to endure. The angels who were crying out desperately at the beginning of this message are now dancing with joy because they know what you are finally beginning to understand. You are not a victim of other people's evil intentions. You are a victor who was temporarily unaware of your own victory. You are not damaged goods because of what this person tried to do to you. You are battle-tested, heaven-approved, fire-refined gold that has been through the furnace and emerged more valuable than before. You are not excluded from God's best because of your past mistakes, your current struggles, or your future fears. You are included in God's plan, positioned for God's purpose, and protected by God's power. The breakthrough that is coming to your life will be so complete that people will ask you what happened. The transformation that is about to occur will be so dramatic that people will want to know your secret. The elevation that is being prepared will be so obvious that people will recognize the hand of God upon your life. And when they ask, you will tell them about this moment. You will tell them about the day when angels cried out and you chose to listen. You will tell them about the warning you received and heeded. You will tell them about the authority you activated and the power you stepped into. But most of all, you will tell them about a God who loves his children so much that he sends angels to warn them, who fights for them so fiercely that their enemies become their footstools, who blesses them so abundantly that their lives become testimonies to his goodness. The person who plotted against you has already lost. The battle that was fought over your life has already been won. The victory that was purchased for you has already been paid for. All that remains is for you to walk in it, to live it, to breathe it, to be it. The angels are no longer crying out in desperation, my beloved. They are singing songs of victory with your name in the lyrics. And the victory song has just begun.